Chosen Christ, the living God, the tree of life, the word of truth, the law of life. I need your ear, Lord, to hear me, Lord, yeah.
Okay, we're going to get started. I want to ask Brother Antoine to read the Ten Commandments from Exodus, the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 17. Exodus 20th chapter, verses 1 through 17. Okay, Brother Antoine, go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Revelation chapter 20 and verse 14 and 15.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
So, sisters and brothers, anybody tell you that you don't have to keep God's commandments, you read these 3 scriptures to them. Because if you don't keep his commandments, you will not get salvation. So now we're going to get right to this lesson. The title of this lesson is The Last 3 Battles. The last 3 battles. Hey, sisters and brothers, the Lord is going to come. And when the Lord comes, it's going to be a battle. It's called the Battle of Armageddon. But then once the Lord is back, then you're going to have a couple of more times when the Lord is going to bring up Russia, and Russia's going to try and assault the camp of the saints. But we're going to start this because it all starts, nothing starts, sisters and brothers, until the temple is built in Jerusalem and the man in Rome moved to this temple. So we're going to start, this is Matthew, the 24th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 1 because the apostles asked Jesus specific questions. And we're going to look at these questions. Verse 1, go ahead.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things?
Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Now, that prophecy has been fulfilled already, because in 70 A.D., Titus, the Roman general, destroyed Jerusalem down to the ground, the temple and everything. But go ahead and read.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying,
Go ahead.
tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
Go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
Now, the first they ask him, what shall be, when is the temple going to be torn down? What's going to be the sign of your coming and the end of the world? And the first thing Jesus said, take heed that no man deceive you. Go ahead and read.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. Go ahead.
And shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
He said, many's going to come in my name, saying that I'm Christ. In other words, they're going to acknowledge that he is the anointed one, but they're going to deceive many. But he said, there should come wars and rumors of wars. He said, I don't want you to be troubled. Did you finish that?
Yes, I did.
Don't want you to be troubled because the end is not yet. So we hear wars all over the world at all times. Since I've been born, it's always about either somebody is having a war or somebody's going to have a war. But he said, be not troubled because the end is not yet. Skip down to verse 15. Verse 15 and go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation.
Now, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation,
spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place.
Go ahead.
Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Now he said, when you see the abomination of desolation, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Go ahead and read.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
So if you're in Judea, flee to the mountain. You have to get out of there, sisters and brothers. And wherever you are, you have to get to a certain place that's called a place of safety, because that's the only place where the Lord promised you he will protect you. But he said this guy was spoken of by Daniel the prophet. So we're going to go into Daniel's and look at it. Now, if you are a New Testament Christian only, then you will never be able to read this because you have been taught that the Old Testament's been fulfilled. But when Jesus is spoken of by Daniel the prophet, he's talking about Daniel's going to tell you something that have not come to pass even to this day. Because the prophets call the future, sisters and brothers. Now let's start at verse 1. Daniel's, the 8th chapter and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel.
Go ahead.
After that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace,
Go ahead.
which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai.
Now this is a vision of near future to Daniel's, and it even extends beyond us. So let's look at this vision. Go ahead.
Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns.
Go ahead.
And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
So this ram had 2 horns, and we're going to show you that this ram represented the Medo-Persian Empire. You know, the Medes nowadays are the Russians, and the Persians are the Iranians. He said, but the one horn come up higher than the other one, the last horn. So skip down to verse 5 and go ahead.
And I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
Go ahead.
And touched not the ground.
Uh-huh.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Go ahead.
And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power.
Now he saw a goat with one horn in the middle of his head. Now all of a sudden he come from the end of the earth. And when he came, he ran to the ram, come up on the ram, because this goat represent the Greek Empire. And he come up to the ram, which represent the Medo-Persian Empire, and let's see what happened. Go ahead and read.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him,
Go ahead.
and smote the ram, and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
Go ahead.
But he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
So this goat come up on this ram, and he defeated this ram, and couldn't nobody help this ram. Go ahead and read.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
So now his horn was broken, and it was replaced by four other horns. Go ahead and read.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great.
Go ahead.
Toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
Now the one of the four horns. Now this horn, we're going to show you, was the first king of Greece, sisters and brothers. And the first king of Greece was Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great died young, and when he died, four generals end up with the kingdom. They split it in four places. But out of one of the generals' kingdom came up another little horn, and we're going to show you that's a religious horn. But go ahead and read. What verse?
Verse 10. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven.
And that little horn waxed great even to the host of heaven. Go ahead and read.
And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
And we're going to show you that this is talking about the saints in his time. All this is future here. The saints. Because the Bible tells you you're going to make war with the saints, and he's going to prevail. So these some of the stars he cast down to the ground. Go ahead and read.
Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
Now, this little horn is going to take away the daily sacrifice, sisters and brothers. This guy going to do a lot. But skip down to verse 15 and go ahead.
And it came to pass, when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning. Then, behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man.
Go ahead.
And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision.
Now, this man that he saw was an angel, Gabriel angel. So the Lord told him, make this man to understand the vision. Go ahead and read.
So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid.
Go ahead.
And fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision.
So he wanted to let Daniel know, you have seen what's going to happen in the end days. For the time of the end. So I want you to understand this, because this is for the people that's going to be in the last days, because it's going to happen in their time. Skip down to verse 19. Verse 19 and go ahead.
And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation, for at the time appointed the end shall be.
And that's what people don't understand. People tell me, well, since the generation came and gone, everybody is talking about the coming of Jesus, but he ain't here yet. Look, sisters and brothers, the people that have some understanding know that certain things have to take place before he comes. That's why you have to track him through prophecy. So he said, look, at the time of the end, this is going to take place. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. Go ahead and read.
The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Look, all you have to do is go into the history, and you'll find out that the Greeks are the ones that toppled the Medo-Persian Empire, and you find out the king at that time that toppled the Medo-Persian Empire was Alexander the Great. Go ahead and read.
Now, that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
Now, we have a lesson that shows this with the history that go along with it, sisters and brothers, with the individuals and the dates and time that this happened. It's called world history, told by the prophets. We have all this. So now, once Alexander the Great, the first king, was in power, had conquered everything was to be conquered, he died. And when he died, he had no blood relative who was strong enough to take over the kingdom, so his generals went to fighting over it. And it ended up with 4 generals was running the whole kingdom, which used to be the Greek Empire. What verse are we?
We have verse 23.
Go ahead.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
This is the latter time of their kingdom. Out of this horn that come out, of one of those horns came out of the western horn. This little horn that understand dark sentences, sisters and brothers, and have a fierce countenance, this is the religious horn. This horn is called, they call him the Pope now. Go ahead and read.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power.
Go ahead.
He shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
See what it said? His power going to be mighty, but not by his own power. That means he's going to get his power from somewhere else, and we're going to show you that later. So he's going to destroy wonderfully. He's going to destroy the mighty and the holy people. Those are the saints that he's going to make war with. Go ahead and read.
And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
And this guy going to cause witchcraft to prosper in his hand. Go ahead.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
In the name of peace, he's going to destroy many, because that's where he come, in the name of peace, in the name of the Lord. And you better, if you don't obey the word of God, which is not the word that he's going to be dealing with, you're going to die, like the infidel that you are. In the name of peace, he's going to destroy many. Go ahead.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
But he's going to stand up against the prince of princes. That's talking about Jesus, sisters and brothers. That's why Jesus, when he comes, he says, I'm King of kings and Lord of lords. He is the prince of princes. And he's going to be broken without hand. That's telling me that when this guy is in his full power, he's going to stay there until the Lord comes. And that's when the Lord going to take him down. Now let's go and look at this same guy in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. See, if you don't understand, if you don't go back and see what Daniel's wrote, then you won't understand what Paul wrote in 2 Thessalonians, sisters and brothers. And if you are a New Testament Christian, you will never understand this, because you say, I'm not going to go back. But now, Paul wrote about this same guy, 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1, because you hear people saying all the time that Christ can come back at any time. Any day now the Lord can come back. Well, they were saying that in Paul's day, and he was letting them know, no, that can't be. That's not factual. Certain things have to take place before Jesus came back, because the prophets said it. And this is one of the things that have to take place. 2 Thessalonians, 2nd chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him,
go ahead,
that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
He said, now I'm telling y'all that no matter who tell you that Christ is coming back, you don't believe him. Whether it's by spirit, like something talking in your ear, or whether somebody send you a letter, or whether by word of mouth. If they tell you that, he is not going to come before this time. Go ahead and read.
Let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
And that day ain't going to come until there be a falling away first. Falling away from what? From the truth, sisters and brothers. We have totally fell away from the truth. We have a people that's saying that they are Jews, and they're not Israelites. We have preachers that saying you're going to go to heaven, and the Lord say you're going to come to earth. You even have people saying that the first day of the week is the Christian Sabbath day. But that same Christ, before he became the anointed one, he's the one that said the seventh day is the Sabbath day. They say you got people in heaven. God said he ain't gonna raise you until the last day. So we have totally fallen away from the truth. We're falling away so bad until you get some false prophets turn around and they're prophesying against the false prophet. They think, but what they did, instead of them straightening out the falseness, they have even have a guy throwing the whole Bible out of the window. That's how far we've fallen away from truth. Now you have people saying that the Bible itself is a lie. So now, that the Lord is not coming until that man of sin be revealed. But first, there have to be a falling away, and we have fallen away, and it's going to be worse before the Lord comes. But go ahead and read. What verse?
We're verse 4. Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God.
So this man of sin. There got to be a falling away first, and that man of sin, the son of destruction, must be revealed. This man opposes and going to exalt himself above everything that's called God. Go ahead and read.
Or that is worshipped.
Of that is worship.
So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God.
Go ahead.
Showing himself that he is God.
So he's going to cause people to turn away from everything. And he, as God, is going to sit in the temple of God, showing himself and the world that he is God. What temple, sisters and brothers? That's what the holy place is. When you have a temple that's going to be built in Jerusalem, it's going to be built on the model of the old temple that Solomon built. And they're going to have a temple with a curtain in between it. The front is going to be the holy place, and the back is the most holy place. So this man going to be sitting in the temple, in the holy place. That means that a temple's got to be built. And everybody's going to say, well, Christ is back. But go ahead and read.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
Now, we are looking at this. Paul is telling the Thessalonians, remember now, I told you this while I was with you. He said, now we know what's going to happen, and that he will be revealed in his time. There's a time for him to come on the scene, sisters and brothers. The Lord have already set this in order. So when you understand this, when they build a temple, when you see this guy leave Rome and move into the temple, with some drama, of course, but he's going to do it, then you will know this is the one that Daniel was talking about, that Jesus referred us to Daniel to read about, and this is the one that Paul wrote about. Why? Because we have been informed. Go ahead and read.
For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way.
What's he mean, the mystery of iniquity doth already work? Sister and brother, this started in the Roman Empire. Paul was under the Roman Empire. The apostle was under the Roman Empire. This thing started with the Roman Empire, sisters and brothers. All of a sudden, you got a man that's taken over, and he is the replacement of Christ. That's why they call him the vicar, the replacement of the Son of God. Started in the days of the Roman Empire, the days of Paul. Go ahead and read.
And then shall that wicked be revealed.
He said, look, remember, this now I done told you this. The Lord is going to let it play itself out until the time appointed, and then that wicked shall be revealed. Go ahead and read.
Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Whom the Lord is going to consume. Remember, we read in Daniel, he's going to stand up against the prince of princes. But he's going to be broken without hand. Sisters and brothers, this prince of princes of Jesus. So he's going to be here when the Lord comes. He ain't going to leave a day before, but go ahead and read.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. Go ahead.
With all power and signs and lying wonders.
Didn't Daniel say craft going to prosper in his hand? This man's going to do something. He's going to cause fire to come down from heaven. He's going to cause a statue which is going to be made And he going to cause that statue to walk and talk, sisters and brothers. We ain't seen nothing like this. You have people trying to say that this is a computer and all it. Look, sisters and brothers, it's going to be something that you don't know exists. Because there are a lot of things in this creation that exist you don't know about. So he's going to cause craft to operate in his hand. He's going to cause a whole lot of stuff, sisters and brothers. And now, what we want to know is, where is this guy's base located? Where is his headquarters? So now, we want to find out where he is now. So when he leaves to go into the temple, we will know where he's leaving from. Just as well as we know where he is going to. Let's go into Revelation, the 17th chapter, so we can put a hand on this guy. And we want to know his location, sisters and brothers. So once we find out where he resides, then all you got to do is watch where he lives and watch where he's going. And when the move is made, you will be on top of it. Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. Because the Lord has made it clear, so you will know who he's dealing with. You don't have to try and get off and interpret anything. Just read the book and accept it. And sister and brother, because nowadays, the falling away is in full bloom. Never have I seen a minister get up and try and condemn the whole Bible out of the Bible. Right. It's in full bloom, sisters and brothers. This thing is on top of us. Revelation 17:1. Go ahead and read.
And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Now this great whore that is talking about, sisters and brothers, is the great religion that sits upon many waters. The greatest religion, the biggest religion on this whole planet is the Catholic religion, sisters and brothers. And the many waters that it sits upon are people. Catholics are all over this planet. Go ahead and read.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
The kings of the earth have committed fornication because all of them have gone along with this leaders of this church and this religion. And the earth is drunk from the wine of her fornication. What is the wine? That is bad doctrine, sisters and brothers. Out of Rome came Sunday. Out of Rome came going to heaven. Out of Rome came Satan is in the ground barbecuing people, sisters and brothers. Out of Rome came Easter. Out of Rome came Christmas. So that's the doctrine, and the world is drunk with it. Go ahead and read.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast.
Go ahead.
Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now this beast is the Gentile dynasty, sisters and brothers. Because this woman have rode this beast since the days of Justinian. That means all the nations that this religion is going to have this woman, which this religion is going to have power over, especially in Western Europe, are all Catholic nations, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Go ahead.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Look, this thing, she had this cup full of abomination. That's where this foul religion come from. This wrong religion that we teaching that is called Christianity, but it is not, sisters and brothers, because it's not Christ-like. And he said, Mystery, Babylon the Great. Why is that Babylon the Great? Because, sisters and brothers, Babylon, started with Nebuchadnezzar, was the first one to rule this whole world uncontested. And it came on down from Babylon to Medo, to Greece, and to Rome. So all the nations that we have among the Gentiles were first ruled by Babylon. And he said, the mother of harlots out of that, and abominations of the earth. Go ahead and read.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
What you mean the blood of the saints and the martyrs of Jesus? Because this woman and this religion with the help of these European nations, is going to persecute the saints, sisters and brothers. And I mean, it's going to be real bad for 3.5 years. It's not the beginning. It was happened during the Inquisition, and it's going to happen again. Skip down to verse 9. Now let's see where this woman located at. Verse 9. This is where we're really coming from. Go ahead and read.
You don't want verse 7?
Okay, read verse 7. I'm sorry. Verse 7. Go ahead.
And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel?
So why did you marvel? Go ahead.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman.
I will tell you the mystery of the woman.
And of the beast that carrieth her.
Uh-huh.
Which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns.
And the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. We have a lesson to show you that, sisters and brothers. Through the grace of God, he caused me to write a book about this beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, called The 4 Winds of Heaven. But skip down to verse 9. He said, I'm going to show you the mystery. Verse 9, go ahead and read.
And here's the mind which hath wisdom.
And here's the mind which hath wisdom.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. That gave us a geographical location, sisters and brothers. So now, in order to find out where this woman sits or where her headquarters is, we're going to have to go to the history books. We're going to go to a history book called The Pictorial History of the Italian People. And page 28 first. Go ahead and read it.
Servius Tullius, in the 6th century BC, was the Roman Solon, and he introduced the classification of citizens for military and electoral purposes, very similar to that attributed to Solon in Athens in 594. According to legend, he built the walls encircling Rome's 7 hills.
Now, that's where, so Rome is built upon 7 hills, sisters and brothers. 7 hills. Now go to page 31 and read that. Go ahead.
Romans were now confident in their own strength when, after over 30 years of nearly continual fighting, this round of wars ended. The small independent township centered on the 7 hills had become a state embracing most of what is today's Latium and parts of Umbria.
Now, that Rome, which was built in Italy, sisters and brothers, but it's called Rome. And Rome, from Italy, from that peninsula, that's what Italy means, ruled the whole world. And in smack dab in the middle of Rome, which is built upon 7 hills or 7 mountains, is Vatican City. That is the headquarters of this woman. Those are the 7 hills on which the woman sitteth. Now let's go back to Revelation, the 19th chapter. Revelation 19th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 12. Revelation 19 and verse 12. 17, I'm sorry. 17 and verse 12. Revelation 17 and verse 12. Okay, go ahead.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
Go ahead.
But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Now you got 10 horns here. They have not received no kingdom at that time, but sister and brother, we looking at 9, it was 10, but England got out of it. Why? Because England is a Protestant nation. So when England complete her exit out of the EU, then another nation is going to take her place, and it's going to be Catholic. You can bet your last money on that, because these got one mind. One mind. Go ahead and read.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
And you're going to have a man that's going to be, all these 10 nations is going to allow this one man to rule and direct the affairs of Western Europe. Go ahead and read.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them.
Go ahead.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Didn't we read in Daniel that he's going to stand up against the prince of princes, but he's going to be broken without hand? Then we read in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, that he's going to be removed with the brightness of the Lord's coming. This is the same one, sisters and brothers. If you want to know where he is, you find his headquarters in Rome. And that headquarters is called Vatican City. This organization, under his tutorship, is the one that's going to make the what we call the War of Armageddon. Let's go back to 24th chapter of St. Matthew. Because when this man go, everybody, when he come and sit in that temple, sisters and brothers, everybody going to be saying, the Lord is back. And the Lord told you, there are going to be many false prophets coming. And if they tell you that he is in the desert, go not forth. If they tell you that he is in the secret place, go not forth. Because he's going to tell you where to look for him. Matthew 24, and we're going to start reading at verse 27. Matthew 24 and verse 27. Okay, go ahead.
For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Now, that's what Peter them asked him about his coming also. So he said, look, I'm not going to sneak in. If somebody tell you I'm in a temple somewhere, that's the secret chamber, don't pay no attention to that. He's back in Jerusalem, don't go for it. Because just like you see the lightning coming from heaven, so it is when I come, you'll be able to see me. I won't be in no secret chamber, and you hear about me through the grapevine, about the news media. You're going to see me. And what time am I coming? Skip down to verse 29 and go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened,
go ahead.
And the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
So he's telling you, immediately after the tribulation of those days, that's when I'm going to come. That's called the Great Tribulation, sisters and brothers, which is 3.5 years, not 7. If you're going to wait, when you see this man go into this abomination of desolation, go into the holy place, or either you see Papa leave Rome and go set up in the temple that's going to be built, and everybody know of any kind of knowledge know that temple is going to be built. And you see him going to it, that's when you flee. You don't let sit down and relax and say, oh, I got 3.5 more years. So he's going to make a covenant with the Jews, and then in the middle of the week, he's going to break the covenant. No. They got that from Daniel the 9th chapter, and they woefully misinterpreted it, sisters and brothers. So now, Jesus said, immediately after the tribulation of those days, you're going to see me coming. Because the book told you that this guy is going to stand up against the prince of princes. That's when the Lord is going to come, immediately after the tribulation. And he said that the people are going to mourn. Let's show you why the people are going to mourn. Let's go into Isaiah, the 34th chapter. Because people have woefully misrepresented Jesus, sisters and brothers. That's why you get the people that lying on him, don't care nothing about lying because they don't think nothing's going to happen. And that's why you get the people trying to dismiss his word altogether and dismiss the whole Bible. They don't care because they don't have no understanding. They don't know what's going on. They don't feel nothing. And when Solomon told you in Ecclesiastes, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, sisters and brothers. They don't fear. Why? Because they don't have no knowledge. It is all that simple. But he said, when he comes, the inhabitants of the earth are going to mourn, sisters and brothers. They're going to mourn because Jesus is not going to do what you think he's going to do. You have been taught that he's going to steal some of y'all up off this earth. And I guess the earth is going to continue, I guess, because he got so many different stories. Right now, he's going to steal somebody, but the earth is going to continue. In other words, another time, he's going to rapture everybody off. There's so many stories because don't nobody read it, sister and brother. And when people listen to all these stories, they get discouraged, and they get confused, and they just don't do anything. But here, the Lord said he's going to come after the tribulation of those days, after the abomination of desolation, stand in the holy place, which is called a man of sin. That's going to stand in the temple of God, showing himself to be God. But when Jesus said at the end of the tribulation that this man is going to bring on this earth, I'm going to come. The sun going to turn black. The moon going to turn red. The stars going to fall from heaven, and you're going to see me coming in power and great glory. Then the inhabitants of the earth are going to mourn. Let's show you why they're going to mourn. Isaiah 34, and let's start reading at verse 1. Isaiah 34 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it.
So this message is written by Isaiah the Israelite, isn't it?
That's right.
But the message is to the whole world, sisters and brothers. Anybody on this earth. God said this message is to you. Go ahead and read.
For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations.
In other words, the Lord is mad at all of them. Indignation of the Lord is upon all nations. Go ahead and read.
And his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them.
Go ahead.
He hath delivered them to the slaughter.
That's what he's going to do. The Lord speaketh all those things that are not as that are not as though they were. Why? Because he's going to bring them to pass. His fear is upon all armies. He's going to utterly destroy them by the slaughter. Go ahead and read.
Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses.
Go ahead.
And the mountains shall be melted with their blood.
There's going to be so much killed, sisters and brothers. So the mountain's going to be melted with their blood. This is going to be a major war. This is the first battle, a major battle. Lots of people going to die. Go ahead and read.
And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll.
How many times is that going to happen? One time. That's when the Lord's coming. Go ahead and read.
And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.
Go ahead.
For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment.
Now, the Lord always got a little bit in there what he going to do to Idumea, which is Edom, sisters and brothers. My sword shall be bathed in heaven, and he's going to come down on Idumea, the people of my curse to judgment. This is the Lord saying, it got nothing to do with me. But read the next verse anyway. Go ahead and read.
The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness.
Go ahead.
And with the blood of lambs and goats.
They ain't talking about animals here either. Go ahead and read.
With the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and of a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
For you have a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, sisters and brothers. Who is this? That's the one that's running around saying that he is the Jew. But the Lord call is on him, because what he's done is a great big controversy over the land. Skip down to verse 8 and read it. Go ahead.
For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance.
It's the day of the Lord's vengeance.
And the year of recompenses.
And the year to repay everybody. Go ahead and read.
For the controversy of Zion.
For the controversy of Zion. I'm going to settle who Jerusalem and Israel belong to. That's why I don't worry about going back. I don't worry about teaching against people. I don't worry about pouring out venom and vitriol on nobody. I'm just going to wait on the Lord. I cannot do half of what he can do. So the Lord said, so the heaven's going to roll back like a scroll. And when he comes, the people going to mourn. You can see why, because that's when you're going to go into the war of Armageddon. And it's going to be the kings of the earth, all of them, sisters and brothers. He's going to kill so much and say, look, the mountain's going to be melted with their blood. Now let's go into Revelation, the 6th chapter, and look at the same thing about the moon and the stars and the sun when the Lord getting ready to come. This is the sign of his coming. And just about everywhere you read by his coming, you'll find this sign, sisters and brothers. Because the Lord lets you know, I'm going to do this one time, and one time only. But that one time is going to be enough. Revelation chapter 6, and we're going to start reading at verse 12. Revelation 6 and verse 12. Okay, go ahead.
And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Matthew's told you about it. Isaiah told you about it. Now John is telling you about it. Go ahead and read.
And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
That ain't going to happen one time. Go ahead and read.
And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
See, these people think that this word of God is a fabricated story. All of them think a lot of them think it's a lie. Most people, how I know is because you got people that lies on this book. If you lie on the Lord, that means you don't believe he's coming. And like I said, we even have some coming out now trying to dismiss the whole book. An uninformed Hebrew Israelite that don't know he was an Israelite, and then an Edomite that don't know he's an Edomite. I watched both of them trying to assault this book. They don't have a clue as what's going on, sisters and brothers. But when that heaven rolled back like a scroll, and they see the Lord sitting there on the throne, then that's what they're going to call for the rocks and the mountain to fall on them. Then it's too late. Go ahead and read.
For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
The great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Like I said, on the day of the memorial of the trumpet, sisters and brothers, the Lord is getting ready to bring some drummer now. But before he bring the drummer, he going to put a mark on his servants, sisters and brothers. Because he not going to allow them to suffer at the hand of the beast and false prophet. And they stood up for it, and then he turned around and make them suffer. So let's go directly into the 7th chapter of Revelation. Revelation, the 7th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Revelation 7 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Now these angels holding back the nations. These 4 winds talk about the nations, sisters and brothers, all over the world. They just stop all activities until the Lord seal his servant. Go ahead and read.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Go ahead.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
Look, sisters and brothers, he said, don't hurt anything until I've sealed my servants in their forehead. Person asked me, do you know what this seal is? I said, no. You mean you don't know? I said, I don't, and nobody else know either. Because God didn't say it. All I know is you're going to be sealed and you're going to be protected. Go ahead and read.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed. And there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
Those are the people that was in that 4th part of the earth that the beast and false prophet is going to have control over, sisters and brothers, not the whole earth. Because Israel is scattered into every nation under the sun. Skip down to verse 9. Now you got some other people that turn to the Lord that are not Israelites. Go ahead and read.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
Now, these are non-Israelites, sisters and brothers, that come out of every kindred, nation, and tongue. And I even venture to say you're going to have some Edomites in it.
That's right.
Because the book talk about delivering the wives and the children out of every nation. Ezra is absolute. But now, who are these people? Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13 and go ahead.
And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they?
Go ahead.
And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest.
He wanted to know, who are these people that in white robes, which have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb? These people in turn to Jesus during the great tribulation. Who are they? And he said, Sir, thou knowest. Go ahead. I don't know. Go ahead and read.
And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation.
And he said unto me, these are they that came out of great tribulation. Go ahead.
And have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
In other words, sisters and brothers, they went in there and they was converted. And they stood for the Lord, even during a time when if you stood for the truth, your life was in grave danger. I can read where a lot of people was killed because they stood for the truth. But these people stood up. And when the Lord rolled back to heaven and brought an end to the great tribulation, brought on by the beast and the false prophet, he stopped everything and he sealed these people so they will not have to go under the wrath that he's going to bring up on the earth. And once he sealed them, then he went to work on this earth, sisters and brothers. So he told these four angels, hold up the four winds of heaven. Now once he had sealed his servant, let's see what happened. Let's go into Revelation, the 9th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 13. Revelation 9 and verse 13. Okay, go ahead.
And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
Remember, these are the same four he told. These four angels, hold back the four winds of heaven. Now he said, loose them, which are bound in the great river Euphrates. This river Euphrates is the separation between Eastern and Western Europe, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read. What verse?
We're at verse 15.
Go ahead.
And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men.
There's a lot of men going to die, a third part of men. Go ahead and read.
And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them.
Now, see, these angels are the ones that directing the battle. So he said the number of the horsemen was 200,000. That's 200 million soldiers, sisters and brothers. They coming to go to war against Western Europe. But go ahead and read.
And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
These are war machines that John was looking at. And how many people was killed by it? Go ahead and read.
By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths.
So he saw war, sisters and brothers. And through these weapons, a third part of the men was killed. That's what that 200 million soldiers came across to do. When he said, loose the angels in the Euphrates River. Now let's go into Revelation, the 16th chapter, because it will tell you this 200 million soldiers came from. It will tell you, sisters and brothers. Revelation 6, and we're going to start reading at verse 12. So you don't have to wonder where they're coming from, because Euphrates River divide Eastern and Western Europe. Turkey, because the Euphrates River run right through Turkey, sisters and brothers. So Turkey is standing right in the middle of of Europe on the dividing line. So that means that anybody east of Turkey is a part of that army. Revelation 16 and 12. Okay, go ahead.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
That's why it said, loose the four angels in the great river Euphrates. He said the water might be dried up. This is a metaphor, sisters and brothers. And let you know that the Euphrates River is not going to stand in the way of what? Make the way of the kings of the east. Prepare the way of the kings of the east, sisters and brothers. Who, east of what? East of Turkey. You got Turkey, you got China, you got Poland, you got a lot of people that think that they with the West. You're going to find out that that's not the case, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read. What verse?
We had 13.
Go ahead.
And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
Now, the Lord have used them to muster to the battle, because the Lord is the one that caused this battle. Go ahead and read.
For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty.
So this battle has been put forth by God, sisters and brothers. He's the one that's bringing this to battle. Go ahead and read.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
Because the Lord told you in Matthew the 24th chapter that he's going to have to cut this thing short, because if he don't, there will be no flesh slave. He said, but for the elect's sake, I'm going to cut it short. Because this man would kill everybody. Because you have big weapons now, these nuclear weapons. So he said, look, he's going to come as a thief. And if you are not clothed, that's with his word, sisters and brothers, your nakedness is going to be exposed, and you're going to be ashamed. Go ahead and read.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
Now that's the place where all the battles take place. The mountain of Megiddo, or it's called the valley of Megiddo, the place of troops. Let's go and look at this place. Let's go into Joel, the 3rd chapter, because this is where it's going to take place, sisters and brothers. This is the first big battle. Because we got these little skirmishes. Everybody's rattling swords right now. You got Russia rattling swords. You got North Korea rattling swords. America rattling swords back at them. But ain't nothing going to happen until this come down. All you're going to get is threat, threat, threat. But the time going to come, sisters and brothers, when that threat is no longer going to be a threat. It's going to be a call to conflict and war. And this is the time that we are reading about. So here come these kings of the east. Joel 3 and verse 1. Because he's going to gather them down to a place where he is going to decide who's going to run this earth. 3 and 1. Go ahead.
For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem.
Now he's telling you those days and that time when I shall recover the children of Judah and Jerusalem and Israel, which is in captivity. Go ahead and read.
I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
He said, I'm going to bring them down and I'm going to plead with them. And he ain't talking about please be good to my people. No, plead mean he going to kill them, sisters and brothers. Going to kill a whole lot of people. He's going to kill them for his heritage's sake, which is Israel, which they have scattered among the nations. But just read a little more of that. Go ahead.
And they have cast lots for my people.
They have bidded for my people.
And have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink.
Now they've given a boy for a prostitute and they've given a girl for wine if they didn't have no currency, because we was a medium of exchange. Right. And this has happened to us only, no other people. No matter if they are running around with our name, it didn't happen to them. That's Go ahead and read.
Yeah. And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine?
Because these people was a part of the people in the coast of Babylon, Palestine. When we was taken out of it, sisters and brothers, in 7 AD, they was right there with them. And now you're going to say that was you? Either you are woefully misinformed or you are a real good liar. Start back at the top of that 4th verse and go ahead.
Yeah. And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine?
Go ahead.
Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
He's telling you, you can't repay me for what you've done. You try to repay me, I'm going to turn it on your own head. Why? Go ahead and read.
Because you have taken my silver and my gold.
You've taken that? Go ahead.
And have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
Go ahead.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians.
Go ahead.
And that ye might remove them far from their border.
Look, they was all a part of it, sisters and brothers. When they took Judah down and scattered them all over the Mediterranean. And when they went to the African coast, and also some in Europe too was on the same boats. They just swung through Africa and picked up some, and you sold them that you might move them far from their borders. So the Lord said, I am talking to you. I want you to know who I'm talking to. Because everybody is guilty. Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9 and go ahead.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Why Gentiles? Because it's going to happen in the times of the Gentiles. This is what people don't understand. The Lord is calling it in the time that He's going to make this come down. Proclaim thee this among the Gentiles. Go ahead and read.
Prepare war.
Prepare war.
Wake up the mighty men.
Uh-huh.
Let all the men of war draw near.
Let all of them draw near. Come on.
Let them come up.
Go ahead.
Beat your plowshares into swords.
Uh-huh.
And your pruning hooks into spears.
I want you to get your social programs that you feed and help people with. Take that money and buy weapons with and make weapons with, because you got a war that you got to fight. Go ahead and read.
Let the weak say, I am strong.
Uh-huh.
Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Go ahead.
Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
He said, I want all you heathen. I'm going to gather them into valley of Megiddo, all you nations. And then the mighty ones of God going to come down. That's Jesus and his army. Go ahead and read.
Let the heathen be wakened.
Uh-huh.
And come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Go ahead.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
That's the valley of Jehoshaphat. Why is it called that? Because that is the valley where Jehovah will judge all the nation. Who is Jehovah? He's the one that come in his Father's name. Now he is Jesus. I even see the people that call themselves us don't even know that. But go ahead and read.
Put ye in the sickle,
Uh-huh.
for the harvest is ripe.
Go ahead.
Come, get you down, for the press is full, the vats overflow,
Uh-huh.
for their wickedness is great.
And this sickle, this is talking about killing sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision.
Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord is near
Uh-huh.
in the valley of decision.
Well, it's the valley of decision. That's where it's going to be decided then and now who's going to run this earth. God ain't going to steal you off in the earth and take you off in the glory. He's going to come here and take it down by force, sisters and brothers. That's why it's called the valley of decision also, because it's going to be decided who's going to run this earth, and now he's going to give you his signs. Go ahead and read.
The sun and the moon shall be dark,
Uh-huh.
and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
This is the sign that lets you know this is the same time that I talk about in Matthew's 24th chapter. The same time that I talk about in Revelation, the 6th chapter. The same time that I talked about in Isaiah, the 34th chapter. Ain't going to happen but one time. Go ahead and read.
The Lord also shall roar out of Zion,
Uh-huh.
and utter his voice from Jerusalem.
This is the heaven of Zion. He's going to come up out of heaven and utter his voice. Go ahead and read.
And the heavens and the earth shall shake.
Go ahead.
But the Lord will be the hope of his people,
Uh-huh.
and the strength of the children of Israel.
The heaven and the earth going to shake. But the Lord is going to be the hope of his people, the children of Israel, and the strength, because that's when he comes, he is going to recover his people Israel. But before that, he's going to have a war with this whole earth.